Welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to the middle of the week. Welcome to Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you for taking the opportunity to join me today, to join Jared today, to join us today. I am your host, Professor Paul Markle, and I am inside of the Glass Case of Emotion Studios, located at Student of the Gun University. But it really doesn't matter where I am. What's most important is where you are and the fact that you are tuned in today. So congratulations for that. You, at very least, have good decision-making skills as far as radio is concerned. I don't know what the rest of your life, but this is any indicator. The fact that you are listening to us today shows that you have excellent decision-making skills. So it is the middle of the week. We've got some interesting stuff to tell you. We have some good news. Finally, I don't even know what to say. We remind you guys, we're like, look, we're giving away free stuff. We're giving away a really cool $1,000 rifle, right? And all you have to do is actually open your email and read it. And you might be the winner. Jared, is your mic on over there?
Yeah, it is now.
Okay. Tell them a little bit about the experience. We tried to give away the Inland Carbine. We tried to give it away, and initially we were unsuccessful.
It was last week on the grad program, the bonus hour.
Yeah,
Dad was like, hey, we're going to send out, or he teased him a little bit. He's like, we're going to tell you guys the winner at the end of the show. And then we're like, I'm going to go ahead and wait 24 hours for the confirmation email before I announce the winner's name. So I waited 24 hours and nothing. So I sent another one. And I waited 24 hours and nothing. So I'd send another one. So the third person that I contacted.
Wow.
The third
person.
Yeah.
So congratulations to James Shields of Ohio. James Shields is the winner of the M1 carbine. It's the 1945 carbine from Inland Manufacturing. They're really slick guns. They look like your grandpa's or your great-grandpa's M1 carbine. It looks like what we used to win, one of the tools we used to win World War II. And they're made, basically, if you look at one, you'd think that you went back in time to, 1945 or what have you. But congratulations, James Shields. You are the winner of the M1 carbine from Inland Manufacturing. And brothers and sisters, I don't know what to tell you. We had the same thing with the KSG shotgun last year.
Yeah.
We were trying to give away a KSG shotgun, and it was like this third one, wasn't it?
I think it was the
third one.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah. So what's gonna happen is people are gonna go into their email or their inbox or whatever, like, oh man, I could have won that. Well, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't check your email once a day, I can't really help you.
What's kind of crazy to me is that I chose that from the list of grad program members, and I know they check their email. They have to get the. Well, maybe they don't.
I don't know.
They don't really have to.
You don't have to do anything. You're an American. I mean, if you don't want to check your email, don't check your email. Say, I'll check my email when I feel like checking my email, and you won't tell me any different. And I was like, okay. Speaking of email, I want you guys to, if you are a recent listener of Student of the Gun, if you're a recent follower of Student of the Gun, and if you went to the website, here's the deal. You could have been listening to us for 2 years, but if you haven't gone to studentofthegun.com lately and clicked on that orange button that says 7 training tips that could save your life or something very similar to that, and signed up for the newsletter, then you're missing out. And
you should probably do that because we're going to have an announcement very soon.
Yeah, you want to do that. Absolutely, you want to do that. You want to click on it, get on the list, and don't be a knucklehead. So many knuckleheads in the world. They're like, I'm going to sign up for this list, but I'm going to use an email that I never check. So that, or that's my spam and junk email. Why would you sign up for a newsletter and put it in your spam and junk email?
This I would say this is not just a list. It is how Professor Paul is going to communicate with you and give you information on. It's literally 7 training tips that could save your life.
Yes. When you do that, you confirm your email address. You sign up, put your first name, your email address, bam. Then you go to that email, and it says, are you really sure that you want to do this? Please confirm. That way people can't, spam you. And you say, yes, I really, really do. And as soon as that happens, you get access to the first video, and then the second and third and fourth and so on. But I'm going to tell you something. Google people, you know how Google has changed up their email system, how like they put it into
promotions. Most
promotions,
of us, we're going promotions
and so forth. So you got to watch it. What they'll do is they'll segregate it. It'll come from us, and Google thinks that they're smarter than we are, and they'll segregate it over into the promotion section. Because a lot of guys are like, "Oh, I never got that, man. Nobody ever told me." Like, yeah, you actually did, but your email provider, Google, puke faces, they segregate it and they stick it over on the side. So
I think Yahoo's doing that now too.
Oh God, they're so horrible. Yahoo
but you can change
horrible.
that if you. It's called whitelisting our email address in your email server, or not your email server, but your
Get
email
your
provider.
15-year-old freshman granddaughter.
Yeah, just add Professor PROFESSOR.
Good boy. Good boy.
I was like, oh wow, Professor at studentofthegunradio.com. Add that to your contact list, or if you're using Gmail or Yahoo, just take the email that we sent you that's in the promotions folder or spam folder and drag it to the inbox, and that'll ensure that the future deliveries will be.
Yeah, you don't want to. I mean, we're providing all this information, these videos, to you for nothing, for free. It's professional training that if you were here, you would have to be paying for. If you were in the same geographic area, you would have to pay for this instruction. But you're getting it for free because you're a student of the gun. And we're going to be announcing even more giveaways. Another one. I know I said I was going to stop giving stuff away, but I love you, and I just can't stop doing it. So there you go. And congratulations once again to James Shields for the M1 carbine from Inland Manufacturing. It's INLAND, MFG. Manufacturing.
MFG.
If you want to thank them, or if you want to check them out, you're like, well, I didn't win, but what's this all about? Is it something terrible like Inland-Manufacturing?
Inland-MFG.com.
There you go. And, of course, they have a Facebook page. You can go over there and check those guys out on Facebook, or just check out their wares. Say, hey, guys, we heard about you on Student of the Gun. And the reason that we are talking about Inland Manufacturing is because they are one of the newest sponsors for Student of the Gun Television. What? You have a television show? Yeah, we actually do have a television show. I know. How many of you didn't know that? You're like, okay.
I'm excited for this season.
Didn't know it. Jared has been working. We're in post-production of season 6 right now, and it's going to be the shizzle. You're going to like it. It's pretty exciting. I went and sat in Jared's office and watched the intro the other day for the new show. It's pretty cool. We've been working on it behind the scenes. We've done a lot of stuff here recently to kind of improve the availability of Student of the Gun, because things are changing and our world is changing so fast. Think about it. If you're over age 40, you knew what it was like not to have an internet. If you're in your 30s, the internet was something that you learned about when you were a kid. Now, me being in my mid to late 40s, I was introduced to the internet when it was brand new. And something, we were laughing. We were watching the Boondock Saints the other day, the original Boondock Saints, not the abortion that they called a sequel. And Willem Dafoe, the first scene that he shows up, Willem Dafoe shows up, and he's going to investigate the crime scene. And he puts on his headphones and he plays his portable CD player. And it looks, to somebody watching that in 2014, 2015, that looks ridiculous. A portable CD player, which were huge. They're even bigger than a Walkman, because apparently at that time they had not mastered the MP3 player yet, and they're like, crap, what are we going to do in the meantime? People aren't buying cassettes anymore, but the MP3 player, we haven't quite gotten that technology yet. I know. Let's give them this silly abortion-looking monstrosity called a portable CD player. But consider that. Where are we today? Things are changing, and television and the way you watch television is changing. And you know it, whether you realize it or not. 5-6 years ago, when I first heard about Netflix, I thought, man, that's just for lazy people. I can still go to the store. And then the first time we started using it, like, why should I go and walk around a video store for a half an hour to choose a movie when I can sit in my chair and do that exact same thing.
The internet is the death of America.
Yeah, well, so the fact of the matter is television today is, and the future of well, it's not the future, it is the present, is app television. It's on demand when you watch it, when you want to watch it. The whole, the show comes on at 9 o'clock on Monday night, unless it's a live event, like sporting events or something, unless it's live or a special one-time thing, there really is no reason for it to only be on one time a week at 9 or 8 or whatever. It's 2015. And that's why we put so much effort, and you guys don't realize this maybe, behind the scenes.
It's seamless to them.
Yeah, to them it seems like, just turn it on and there it is. But for this entire year, we started last fall transitioning from normal, satellite television to app television. And people in the industry are like, oh, especially the shooting sports industry, we're such freaking dinosaurs. Brothers and sisters, you have no idea. The people in the shooting sports industry are literally 5 to 10 years behind technology. Always. And I've been involved in the shooting sports industry for at least 20 plus years. I mean, I've been writing professionally for over 20 years for the industry. And so I started learning about the industry, people that are in it and so forth, and they know how to make stuff. They make stuff that goes bang, they make shiny things, they make leather things, they make wooden and metal things. They make good stuff. But when it comes to the delivery, they're always so far behind. And what's kind of sad is that a lot of the companies are just now getting hip to television, to like regular television, and so they've been convinced that they should produce 30-second commercial spots. Hey, when you watch Netflix, how many commercials do you watch?
None.
Oh, that's right, none. When you watch HBO, how many? You're like, oh, I watch commercials on HBO. Yeah, commercials for other HBO shows. But how many commercials for Coke and Pepsi and Chevy and whatever do you see on television or on your Netflix TV when you watch Orange is the New Black or Gotham or Daredevil or whatever you're watching now? And you're like, yeah, none. Exactly. And now you guys listening to like Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck or Michael Savage or anybody else on the conservative radio. And you've noticed that the only actual 30-second spot or 15-second spot commercials that you hear are from the local affiliates, right? You're like, yeah, I just realized that. The only actual spots you hear are from local affiliates. And the reason that is because everything's on demand now. Everybody's shows, whether it's Beck or Rush or whoever, it's all available on demand 24/7, and it's available worldwide. So if I do a spot for the local Chevy dealer, it doesn't really help you in Maine. It doesn't really help you in Utah. So that's why only the local stuff, your morning radio show or your Glenn Beck show, or when you're listening to Rush and they do a spot for the local Kia dealer, you are the only one that's hearing that. The people in Provo, Utah don't hear that. That's where we are right now with Student of the Gun. Everything Student of the Gun is being formatted, put together so that you can access it 24 hours a day, whenever you want, wherever you want. That is the formula. And I hope that you guys are appreciating that, because Jared's been working his proverbial fanny off in his office so that we could create the Roku channel, Amazon Fire, and so forth. And now we have the Student of the Gun all grad program that's all access. You can go back and you can access the previous material all the way back to episode 1. Congratulations. And one of the reasons that we were able to do that is because of the good people in the industry that we're familiar with, and Frog Lube is one of those. And Jared, go ahead and tell them who our featured sponsor of the week is. Well, it's Frog Lube.
I gotta say, our featured sponsor of the week is who Dad just said, Frog Lube. And we want you to let them know that you appreciate their support of Student of the Gun, because we definitely appreciate their support. And they have a Facebook page. Obviously, you go to facebook.com/froglube. That's the actual Frog Lube page. There's a ton of different ones. Like if you search Frog Lube, there's Frog Lube distributors, so it won't actually be the Frog Lube page. unless you choose the one that's like 50,000 people.
Yeah, the one that you want to go to is Frog Lube, and it says Wellington, Nevada. It has an address. It says P.O. Box, blah, 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 Wellington, Nevada, 55,000. You know, and when you guys do that on your Facebook, if you're like, well, Durcoat, same thing, man. I went Durcoat, and they only had 957 followers. That's because it's a local Durcoat finisher. That's not the main people. Generally, the ones with the highest numbers are the main people.
Yeah. And if you guys don't want to do all the searching thing, just go to studentgunradio.com. Click on SOTG 256. The title is Support Your Local Sheriff. Yeah. Click on that. Go to the little show notes thing. It says this week's featured sponsor, and it'll say Frog Loop. And then there's a link directly to the Facebook page and their website.
Ta-da! It's that easy. And for those of you, it's Wednesday, and we've been doing this for, we did it Monday, we did it Tuesday, and we're doing it today. So thank you very much to all of you who have already done that, who've already gone over. I could play the Romper Room face recognition thing if you want, but I'm just going to go ahead and say thank you to everybody who's done that. And if you haven't done it, I don't know what to say. I can't say thank you if you haven't done it yet. So maybe you should get over there and do that, and then I will say thank you. All right, it is Wednesday, and I know you guys are squirming in your chairs. You're like, dude, you're already 16 minutes into the show, and you haven't played my favorite intro song. So I'm going to close my mouth, and I'm going to let Jared play the SWAT Fuel Fitness Talk intro song. Original cute body make a man woman. Physically fit, physically fit, physically fit woman. Physically fit, physically fit woman. Nice, trick, fantastic. Mix your body out in the big tight and woman and nice, sweet, energetic. Mix your body out in the big tight and woman and nice, trick, fantastic. Mix your body out in the big tight and. I've had a lot of questions about stretching lately. And it's funny because the stretching is going around in all of these fitness groups that I'm in on Facebook. Everybody's talking about stretching now, and I don't know what brought that about. They just discovered that? And
apparently. I don't know. Stretching, it's important. And I'm going to walk you through my routine that I do, and obviously this isn't video, so it might be a little bit difficult, but I'm also going to be doing this on Student of the Gun TV this season. So go to that so you can watch it on video. But stretching is important, and one of the main things you need to do is warm up your muscles before you start stretching. If you stretch cold muscles, it's not as effective, so warm them up. What I do to warm up my muscles before I stretch, I do a round of shadow boxing, or a couple rounds of shadow boxing. You could just take a little jog or something, I don't know. Figure out something that works for you.
You know what I've been doing? That's the John Saylor advice. Remember what John used to make us do?
Duck walks and stuff?
Yeah, duck walks and run around in circles, and then...
Duck walks and run around circles. That sounds really fun.
Yeah. Well, I've just been jumping on the treadmill, and I'll do 5 minutes of, fast walk on the treadmill before I stretch and start working out.
Warm your body up. If you think of it like plastic, cold plastic is solid. You warm it up, it melts, and you can bend it easier. So think of your muscles and ligaments like that. All right, so my routine, my stretching routine, to make sure that I don't miss any of my muscles, I start from my head and I work down to my toes. And I'll walk you through it here. I start with neck rotations. I do usually 10 rotations each direction, so left and then right, or 30 seconds or however long it takes you, 10 rotations each way. And then I move down to my shoulders. I do shoulder rotations. And then I do arm circles. That does your arms and your shoulders. Arm circles forward, arm circles backward, large and small. Standing side twists. Visualize yourself rooting your feet into the ground, and you kind of do the little chicken wing thing with your arms, and you rotate to your left and you rotate to your right, twisting your back and pivoting on your feet so you don't hurt your knees. Oh, well, let's see. Standing side twists, just did that. Standing side bends. I don't know. This is kind of hard for me to explain on radio, but if you stand at attention, raise your hand above your head, straight up, touch the ceiling, reach as if you're going to touch the ceiling, and then you turn your palm towards your head, and you're going to take, say you raise your right arm, take your left arm, and you're going to slide it down your left leg as you bend to your left, and your right arm is going to curve over your body. if that didn't make sense, then I'm gonna have to come up with a better way to explain that. But go to Google or YouTube and search standing side bends, and it'll make sense. Standing back bend, that's pretty simple. I'm not flexible enough to do an entire back bend without a wall. So what I do is I just reach up. I stand there at attention. I reach up with both hands. I interlock my thumbs and I bend back until I feel a stretch. And that actually is stretching the front of your body. I do hip rotations. Think about SpongeBob. Bring it around town.
You're an idiot.
That's what I do every time.
Bring it around town.
Yep. Then I move down to my quads, do quad stretches. You can reach back behind you, grab your feet while you're standing. That's a quad stretch. Forward bend. Make sure your knees are bent. Some people aren't flexible enough to just do toe touches. So you can just do a forward bend, and that does your hamstrings and your lower back as well. Knee circles. It's kind of like the hips, but you bring your knees around town, both left and right direction. You got something to say?
No, yeah, flex your joints. Or stretch your joints or warm up your joints because, shoulders. I had for years. I had shoulder issues.
I'm pretty sure that
repairing my shoulders and.
I'm pretty sure the reason I had to have my rotator cuff rebuilt is because I didn't stretch enough because I was hard-headed. But whatever.
Well, I don't think you were taught to. I think it was like muscle,
Yeah, because that was in high school. I was doing we did powerlifting stuff in high school. I don't think that in wrestling they made us stretch like you should. I don't remember.
You don't recall that? Yeah.
So knee circles, and then you do calf stretches. What I do is I plant I'm gonna stretch my right calf muscle. So I plant my right foot on the ground. I go up to a wall, and then I plant my right foot, and then you lean forward with your hands on the wall, touch your chest to the wall, and keep that right foot planted. That's gonna stretch your calves. Shin stretches, just point your toes, and then pull them up towards your head, and then point your toes, and then pull them up towards your head. You point them. Hold it. I would hold it for a little bit and then slowly bring them up towards your head. That will stretch your shins. And then ankles, of course. I do ankle rotations with my right ankle and my left ankle. Sometimes I'll do this thing called a cradle walk. Google that because it's hard to explain as well. But I do a cradle walk and I stretch my ankles while I'm doing the cradle walk. And that pretty much covers your entire body. I don't know anything that I missed there. Do you?
No, I mean there's a million different stretches out there, but what's important is just actually do it. And the truth is, like an exercise like yoga, how many push-ups do you do in yoga?
Actually, a lot.
A lot. What do you mean? I mean, like
not actual, like just legit push-ups.
Legit push-ups. But yeah. There are a lot of exercise programs where the main thing is actually stretching, and your muscles get. I'm not a doctor, and I didn't say it a Holiday Inn last night, but your muscles get fatigued. How many of you have an office job? How many of you sit a lot? How many of you work on a keyboard a lot, or sit in a vehicle or what have you? Your muscles get fatigued, and you've got to open those things up and get that blood flowing in them. It's really
the older
simple.
you get, the more lactic acid you're going to carry.
Yeah.
So you need to stretch. You need to drink a lot of water to flush it out. Take Epsom salt bath. Man, this is another fitness talk. I'm gonna shut up, and then I'm gonna talk about Epsom salt baths next week.
Okay, Epsom salt baths.
Don't let me forget that.
Hey, and
I want to say congrats. I told you guys last week that I was gonna start doing this every week, and another person from the Combat Culinary Facebook group. It's a great group of people, and there's a lot of good recipes there. So check it out. And Caleb Johnson, congratulations on your weight loss journey. He's got, I think he said he had 50 more pounds to go, and then he's going to join the Army. So he must be a younger kid.
Obviously. All right. Hey, don't forget about the SWAT Fuel promo code. Don't forget to tell them that.
Oh, the promo code. SOTG 2015.
So go to SWAT.
Use that.
Yeah, the reason that we can do this every week is because of the sponsorship of SWAT Fuel. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode about the number one survival component is you. Don't forget about our friends at Crossbreed Holsters. I'm carrying a Crossbreed right now. I'm carrying a Super Tuck Deluxe, and it's the most comfortable in the waistband holster you will ever wear. And it's also one of the most high-quality ones, too. Yes, you can buy cheaper holsters, and guess what? they are cheaper, and you get what you pay for. Century Arms, the sweetest smelling arms makers in America. Century Arms makes the C39 Micro, the RPK, the V2, and also the TP9 SA. And listen up, SA. If you want to save money on that SA rebate deal, the clock is ticking. I believe there's only 1 week left. So if you want to do it, get on it, hippies. Before we get into this next song here, not the next song, this next topic, I just gave myself away. Before we get into the next topic, I was listening to a compact disc because in my truck I have a compact disc player because it's that old. But it also does have an input for an MP3. So I was listening to the Madison Rising, their latest album, and I was listening to track number 9. And it occurred to me that track number 9 is one that needed to be played on Student of the Gun Radio. And it's called... What's it called, Jared?
Oh, that's a good question.
Come to the Ready. Come to the Ready. So I'm going to close my mouth, and you're going to listen to a little bit of Madison Rising, and you're welcome.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to the ready. 2012 all about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to the ready. You don't believe me, just look deep into the soul of the liar's eyes. Come to the ready. The Constitution of our nation is under attack. Say it. Come to the ready. The government is ours and we need to take it back. Come on. We told you it's the end of the world. We don't care if you're man, woman, boy, or girl. It's time to pull up your boots, grab your guns, put on your back. We're under attack. This ain't no drill. We hope you're brushed up on your survival skills. So say goodbye to your old way of life. Get right with God. Get ready to fight. We think you better come. Come to the ready. 2012 brought about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to the ready. You don't believe me, just look deep into the soul of the liar's eyes. Come to the ready. The rights of our citizens are under attack. Say it. Come to the ready. This nation is ours, the people need to take it back. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Put your right hand up in the air. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution and the citizens of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. God help us all!
So, yeah.
Yeah.
There's that.
There's that. And if that doesn't get you pumped up, I don't even know what to say to you. Then you better check your pulse because you're dead.
Real quick before, I forgot to tell you guys during the fitness talk that you should stretch before and after a workout. So,
that is correct. That is correct. That's why you don't just ride your horse and put them up wet. You walk them. You know that, right? When you ride a horse,
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah, I knew
you
that.
walk the horse. Otherwise, it'll just stand there and its muscles will all knot up. So, anyway, so wow. Oh, and the new intro song. You guys know that Madison Rising is the official rock and roll band of Student of the Gun Radio. They are the most patriotic rock and roll band you will ever encounter. They don't just talk about it, they do it. And the new song, or the new intro song for Season 6 of Student of the Gun is Lock and Load. Many of you are familiar, many of you are not, but you should research it. Go to MadisonRising.com and say, wow, you guys are awesome, and I heard about you on Student of the Gun Radio. Thanks a lot. All right. Support your local sheriff. You guys have noticed, you probably have, that I haven't spoken a lot about the Oregon mass killing here, because what else is there really to say? Here, it's basically fill in the blank. What we have is we have a leftist progressive government, statist. They've got the speeches already written. They have the news reports already written. They have their agenda. It's typed up, and they just leave blanks in it, and they wait for the next crisis. We never let a crisis go to waste, do we, little Rami? They wait for the next crisis, the next atrocity. Then they run out as fast as they can, get to a camera. Before the blood is even dry on the pavement, they're in front of the microphone reading their pre-written speech. This just goes to show, this proves, blah, 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 blah. No, it proves nothing, you moron. And the only people that really can be swayed by that are those that are ruled by their emotions, not by logic. Now, the reason that I wrote the article, Smashing Gun Control in 3 Easy Steps, is because I knew this was coming. I knew it was. I told you guys. But I want to point out something to you. And if you don't realize how you're being propagandized or deliberately deceived by the mainstream media, I'm not really sure what to say to you. But here we have a lunatic monster who decides that he's going to go to a gun-free zone. We can't discount that. You notice that Comrade Barry and his ilk, they never admit their failures, and that's what they'll never admit that they're wrong. Even if it's like bold-face, in everyone in the world realizes that they're wrong. That's a typical politician trick. You know, apologize for nothing, never admit failure. You say, yeah, but your policies failed again and again and again and again and again. And so your solution is to redo more or to encourage more of the same policies that created this problem. Yeah. Why? What's your problem? It's like socialists and communism. The failure, the abject failure, and the terrorism and the tyranny of socialism and communism worldwide is on record for everyone to see. But rather than admit that it is an abomination, that it is a failure, that it is the greatest way to spread misery worldwide, they're like, oh, you just don't understand. We just don't have enough of it. Oh, that's it? We just don't have enough of it. Gotcha. And the situation that occurred in Oregon, you had a leftist, you had a kid who, or a guy, or a piece of human filth, whatever, a piece of human filth that singled out Christians and murdered Christians deliberately. How much have you heard from Comrade Barry and his minions about how horrified they are that someone would ask someone their religion? They would say, what religion are you? And if they said, I'm a Christian, they shot him in the head. How much time has Comrade Barry, Hillary, and all of their minions, how much time have they devoted to that problem, to that issue? You're probably going to say, little to none? People say, well, did you listen to Comrade Barry's rant? No, I don't listen. I don't need to listen. I've known forever, since I was introduced to Comrade Barry, that he was a liar. Why should I listen to a liar? Oh, you need to know what the enemy's up to. I know what the enemy is up to. I get that. I know what the enemy is up to. I don't need to listen to any more of the enemy's speeches to come to the realization that they are anti-America, pro-state, and they want to destroy the nation as it was founded and rebuild it as some type of socialist utopia. I don't need to listen. But the media is having a hard time spinning this because, A, we had a deliberate attack on Christians, and they're like, we can't. Christians are the bad guys. You know, in the big media today, Christians are bad people. They're bigots and homophobes. Christians are trying to force their way of life on everyone else. Those darn Christians need to be put in their place. The Christians are the ones that are arguing against the state and against the supremacy of the state. And we cannot have that. The state says you must embrace abortion. Therefore, you must embrace it. The state says you must embrace homosexual marriage. Therefore, you must embrace it. And if you go against the will of the state, you are wrong, and we have to destroy you. Did anybody else notice that that the White House, that the current administration, that they've been fostering an anti-police or a police hatred in the nation? And what happens? So we have an administration, and then they have their willing lackeys in the media that push this anti-police agenda. They basically declare war on police. And then their fringe minions, their fringe kooks that support them, start assassinating police officers. Well, then we have an administration that comes out and tells Christians that they need to shut their mouths and do what they're told, and that the state is the ultimate authority, and that if they don't go along with it, they're going to be punished. And we have Christians singled out for murder, assassination in America. Is that a coincidence? I guess it is. I guess this is all just coincidence. Nothing is linked or tied together. So the media is having a hard time because this is not it's not exactly the outcome that they want. So how do you distract the masses, and how do you create more guilt? So rather than focus on the piece of human debris that was responsible for the murders, rather than focus on the fact that all those new gun control laws that Oregon just passed, it's been less than a year since Oregon instituted more reasonable gun control because that's going to save the children. Rather than say, hey, how are all those new gun control laws working for you Oregonians? Oh, they didn't work? How's that gun-free zone working for you guys? Oh, it didn't work? Crap. Oh, but did you know that the sheriff of that county, that he does not support gun control? What? The sheriff doesn't support gun control? How dare he? And that is the mantra they've been running with. Okay. The Oregon sheriff who was in, I'm going to get his exact name here for you in a second, or Jared, you could read down in the story and get the name while I'm reading the title. And this story comes to us from the dailymail.co.uk. And you're like,
what name was I looking for?
The sheriff.
Yeah, okay.
Gun control, not the answer to prevent school shootings, says Oregon sheriff at the center, and this is the title, at the center of the Roseburg College killings, publicly warned he would not enforce tighter Obama controls. So Oregon sheriff at the center of the Roseburg College killings. Why is the sheriff the center of attention? Why are we shifting attention from the failed policies of the left to the creating these killing zones, these victim-rich killing zones in America? We're going to shift it from that, and now we have the sheriff. And did you know, Jared, that the sheriff refuses to use the piece of human filth's name? It says he will not give him that notoriety.
Good. That's what we need. We need more of that.
Duh. And the media is shocked that he would do that.
Sheriff John Hanlon is his name.
Okay, Sheriff John Hanlon, and he needs your support. Douglas County Sheriff John Hanlon wrote a letter to Vice President Joe Biden in 2013, a month after Sandy Hook atrocity, defending the right to bear arms, protecting the Second Amendment and the U.S. Constitution. Gun control is not the answer to preventing heinous crimes like school shootings, Hanlon wrote. Yeah, duh, he's right. He's absolutely spot on. But that's not part of the agenda, you understand. That's not part of the script. And the sheriff here has gone off script. He's not following along with Comrade Barry and the state's wishes. So we need to sick the media on him. And we need to question him. And we're like, so what is your answer then? Oh, I don't know. Maybe not disarming the good people? What? And this led me to something, the story about the sheriff here led me to another topic. I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone the other day, and he said, dude, what are we going to do? I mean, what in the world can we possibly do? And you know, if you've been paying attention and listening to Student of the Gun a while, I will tell you that we're not going to fix this country in Washington, D.C. It's not going to happen. We're not going to fix the country at your state capital, although that's a good place to start. It's not going to fix itself from the top down. They're not all of a sudden in D.C., because in D.C., everything is wonderful. They think things are great. They've got all your money to spend. They have all your money to spend, and when they run out of your money, they just borrow money from China or print more. In Washington, D.C., everything is wonderful. They don't understand what you peasants' problem is. Why are you complaining and moaning? Just shut up. Everything's great here. We got all your money to spend. They don't get it. The country's not going to be fixed from D.C. down. They're not eventually just going to figure it out and say, let's give the people some of their freedom back. No. It's going to have to start and go from the bottom up. And one of the ways that you're going to re-secure your nation or rebuild your nation is by supporting your local government. And one of the most important figures in the local government, and probably the most important one, is the county sheriff. You guys have probably heard the term posse comitatus. And posse comitatus literally means, it's Latin, and it means the power of the county. That all power should be centralized in the county. Now, posse comitatus is also a law, and it was passed, I believe, in 1878 and signed by Rutherford B. Hayes. Let me go ahead and open this. I believe it was Hayes who signed it, but I could be wrong. The U.S. 18 U.S. Code 1385, use of Army and Air Force as posse comitatus. And essentially what the law says, and you guys have probably researched this because you're gun people, is that it is illegal for the federal government to use the United States Army or the Air Force as posse comitatus or otherwise execute laws in the states or the counties using federal government troops. Now you say, but didn't Lincoln use that, and didn't Grover Cleveland use that, and didn't Wilson? Yeah, they did, and they all violated posse comitatus. But when it comes down to it, the posse comitatus idea is this: is that the government, the most important government, is your local government, because those are the people that are responsible to you. You go to the grocery store or the post office or the whatever, and you run into the sheriff there. You see the sheriff at the grocery store or at whatever. Do you see your United States representative at Walmart when you go to shop? No, you don't. Do you see your senators? No, you don't. And you obviously don't see people like Comrade Barry or what have you. Those people, they're there, but they're not really your neighbors. They're not people. If your sheriff starts screwing up by the numbers, everybody knows about it, and everybody knows the sheriff, and he understands that he is responsible directly to the people of the county. Whereas your elected or your appointed officials, like chiefs of police, this is why historically your chiefs of police have all been leftists and statist. That's why a police chief will come out in favor of gun control, because they don't get elected by voters. Police chiefs are appointed by city councils and mayors. They're hired by the mayor. They're not hired by the people. So you'll have your sheriff on the one side who is actually pro-Constitution, and then you have your chief of police who tends to not be so. Now, you may have a good chief of police. I get that. How are we going to start saving this country? Look at your sheriff. Look at the sheriff. And if you say, oh, our sheriff's crap, Well, why is your sheriff crap? Or our sheriff is good. Milwaukee, they've got a good sheriff up there. They've got a good sheriff out in Oregon. There are good sheriffs. And the guy who just got elected here, where we live, I'm not a native. I'm not far enough. I've been here for several years, but I'm not native enough to know people. A lot of these folks, they've known them since they were in high school. I've been told by friends that the new sheriff is a good dude, that we can rely on him, that he's pro-gun, pro-constitution. So rock on. You want to fix your country? Look at your sheriff. Start there. Make sure that the sheriff is hardcore, because let's face it, if it ever comes to the point, let's just say, wild, crazy, tinfoil hat stuff, that the government decides to create gun control via memorandum. And rather than pass a law, they'll just have the ATF reclassify your guns as destructive devices, making them illegal, which they've set the precedent for. And, well, we're going to have to go ahead and collect those guns up from you people. All you peasants need to turn them in. Who's going to come get them? Comrade Barry and all his minions in D.C. aren't going to get in trucks and drive around to your house in Alabama or Georgia, Texas, and get your guns. The people that actually would come to confiscate your destructive devices would be the locals. And the only way that it cannot happen is if the locals are beholden to you, the voters, not to some, bureaucracy. So focus on your sheriff. All right, before we get out of here, I got one more cogent point to make, but I want to thank Brownells at brownells.com, Duracoat, Lauer Weaponry, by Duracoat products at Brownells, and Velocity Triggers, designed for precision. And I did just put a Velocity Trigger in the brand new gun that I put together. I'll be putting pictures of that up this week. How many of you have looked as you're driving down the road and seen that the flags are at half-mast? Your mother brought this up the other day. She goes, the flag's supposed to be at half-mast. I said, I'm not half-masting anything. First of all, we don't have the capability to do that because we don't have a traditional flagpole out here. I said, second of all, just putting the flag at half-mast is supposed to be an honor and a memorial. When I was a kid, if you saw the flag at half-mast, that was a BFD. That was a big deal. Here in our modern world, it's half-mast all the time. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? Do you really believe that Comrade Barry gives two pieces of excrement about the people in Oregon? No, he doesn't give two pieces of excrement about them. They're peasants. He could care less about them. What that situation is that's a useful tool. When you see the flag at half-mast because of the Oregon mass shooting, the reason it's there is guilt. They want people to see the flag at half-mast and maybe say, why is the flag at half-mast? And then their neighbor or buddy or friend says, oh, because of the thing in Oregon. They're like, oh, yeah, that was terrible. It's a constant reminder of horror in order to guilt the soft-minded into accepting more restrictions. Half-mast from Comrade Barry is 100% part of the guilt campaign, and never, ever forget that. All right, kids, that brings us, the clock on the wall says I'm supposed to shut up and move on. So that's what I'm going to do. We will be back tomorrow, I promise, unless something catastrophic happens. But thank you for joining us again for Student of the Gun Radio. And remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.